to a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our needs, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our needs, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Hail, hail, hail this land of glory. We the Ambazonians pledge our loyalty. Praising to our Savior who granted us the freedom. A legend to the hero who bore the lonely diablo. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in our nation flowing.
Ambazonians, my dear fellow countrymen, good evening. On behalf of my family and the interim government of Ambazonia, I would like to wish you all a happy and prosperous 2018. We are grateful to God for giving us the opportunity to see yet another year. We thank Him for all good things we have experienced, and even the sad ones too. For He says in His book that all things work together for good for those who love Him. God is our anchor in all situations and at all times. He is our anchor in the past, in the present, and in the future. And we are thankful to Him for this day. This is a special moment for me. It's a special moment because the advent of a new year is often a reflection moment. We look back to the past year and we look forward to the new one. As we reflect on 2017, in the context of our independence restoration struggle, it is important to address a number of key questions. How we got here in the first place, what the interim government is doing to actualize the independence of Ambazonia, what goals do we have, what goals have we achieved, what challenges do we face, and what is the way forward. We're looking forward to 2018. In this context, I would like to make use of the opportunity to address our ongoing direct action to fully actualize the independence of Ambazonia from the illegal occupation of la République du Cameroon. Post our independence restoration declaration, you called for the formation of an interim government to coerce and to channel our efforts aimed at running our government from our political headquarters in Buea. You now have one of the most dynamic and transparent interim governments, and some of the most committed Ambazonians who will remain focused on delivering great results until we get to Buea. Your Restoration Council or Parliament is also being constituted as we speak, and its members will be announced to you very shortly. We are very mindful of your expectation that it has to be representative and manned by very dedicated, very committed and resourceful Ambazonians. The goal of this dedicated group of men and women, that of our ambassadors, the goal of our frontline leaders, that of our country leaders and all leaders for that matter, of our restoration train, is to lead all Ambazonians to total freedom to Buea. The key of making this journey quicker and shorter is unity. We must unite for the sake of the suffering masses of our people. Let's transform unity from the virtuality of social media platforms into the realities and the challenges that face us on a daily basis as we ascend our undulating but morally legitimate and politically charged journey towards the restoration of our statehood. Our people yearn for genuine unity in which we put our differences aside and focus on getting everybody to Buea. I mean the type of unity that we witnessed in the glorious days of the 22nd of September and the 1st of October 2017. the unity when our people rose as one. We held hands and declared shoulder to shoulder that we are no longer afraid of being free. I mean that unity that we demonstrated, each of us, by every one of us, from every little corner across our land, from the borders of Nwa to Akwaya and down to Bakassi, from the hilltop of Oku to the plains of Ndop, from the shorelines of Victoria to the mighty Mount Fako. Yes, that unity from the heartland of Manyu, where our people have shown tremendous resolve, and to the banks of the river Mungo, where even nature reminds us that we no longer belong together. This is a patriotic call, and I appeal we heed to this call. How did we get here, my brothers and sisters, fellow Ambazonians? In 1953, the British Southern Cameroonians, our representatives in the Eastern House of Assembly in Enugu, seeking self-autonomy, declared benevolent neutrality, and they walked out of that House of Assembly. This marked the birth of the fight for an independent Southern Cameroons, the land and the territory that God has blessed us with to live and to raise our children happily. Since then till date, we have never gained that unconditional independence. Our land has been illegally occupied, our resources indiscriminately exploited, and our people assimilated and marginalized in political, in economic and social spheres, in a strange union with La République du Cameroon, a union that never was since 1961. For more than half a century, we have been deprived of our inalienable right to life, our right to liberty, and our pursuit of happiness. Looking back, I am thinking of major political figures like Dr. Emmanuel Mbela Lifafa Ndele, like John Gufoncha, like Solomon Tandem Mona, Augustine Gomjua. These people who believed in the vision of an independent Southern Cameroons. They fought till their dying times. I think of activists like Albert Mukong, who suffered brutal and inhumane treatment in the famous Kondengi prison for fighting injustice that engulfs Ambazonians within La République du Cameroon system. I think of statesmen like Ambassador Henry Fossum, whom I met only a couple of days ago. I think of Barrister Fongoji Dinka, Molan Jolly Tumbe, Mfongalamfo, Augustine Dangam, and many others who have sacrificed their lives for the liberation of Ambazonia. I think of nationalists like Dr. Chuayaba, Dr. Ebenezer Akwanga, Bo Herbert, and a lot of us who live out seeking exile. They are all in exile fighting to free Southern Cameroon. I think of Supreme Court Justice Ayapo Labine, Barrister Felix Nkunwa Babala, Dr. Niba Fontem, who endured the stinking prisons in Kondengi and the set for standing up to La République to ensure that the educational and legal systems are consistent with our culture and our values. I cannot leave out my friend, Comrade Deacon Tassang Wilfred, Barrister Bobga Harmony, Eyambe Elias, Shufai Blesberindi. They have stood up to this systematic assimilation, our fathers and our patriots. You are the people who have brought us this far. If you don't remember why we are here, think of the students of the University of Buea who were raped, they were killed, they were arrested and bathed in sewage by armed forces of the Republic of Cameroon. Think of those protesting lawyers who were publicly beaten and humiliated by police officers, and their wigs and their robes have been seized. Think of when the Member of Parliament, our very own Honorable Wilbur Joseph, denounced La République's despicable repression of the university students in the rostrum, at the rostrum of the House of Assembly in Yaoundé. Then think of September 22nd, when millions of you and I, within the territory and abroad, we went across the world, peacefully attracted the international attention of our fight for freedom. Think of the 1st of October, our Restoration Declaration, when millions of you marched to the palaces following the declaration of our independence by the Governing Council. In return, what did we get? Our unarmed citizens who were carrying peace plans and shouting, "No violence, no violence." Our brothers and sisters were beaten, they were shot at, they were killed, they were kidnapped, some have simply disappeared. by the forces of La République du Cameroon. If you still doubt why we are here, remember the over 400 Ambazonians who have been killed by armed security and paramilitary forces of La République du Cameroon during peaceful protests and assemblies. I'm thinking of Amin Benjamin, a computer engineer and a technology entrepreneur, a role model whose life was cut short in his prime by forces sent by Mr. Paul Biya. He was killed on the 1st of October. He studied in India and returned home in high spirits to invest in his own people. Little did he know that his life will be cut short. I'm thinking of the mayor of Ndu, Martin von Yembe, who was tear-gassed to death on the streets. Not on the streets, but in his home at his residence on the 1st of October. How about the over 800 injured through indiscriminate close-range live bullets fired by the forces sent by Mr. Biya? During peaceful demonstrations, how people have been killed. I'm thinking of the 93-year-old grandmother, Mrs. Sarah Afan in Ekona, who now lives with a fractured head after armed soldiers break into her home, tortured her, and hit her forehead with the barrel of a gun. Additionally, I'm thinking of the young 14-year-old Winfreda Alien Fola, who miraculously survived close-range live bullets that shattered her right eye and her face in Boya. She lost her sight and her ability to hear, and she might not even speak well for life. She is currently in need of finances to undergo reconstructive eye surgery abroad. Furthermore, I'm thinking of 24-year-old Zama Beldrin, who lives in Mancon. He was shot at the back at mile 6, Mancon, on the 1st of October. His spine was shattered beyond repair. He's now stuck onto a wheelchair for the rest of his life. At the time of the incident, Zama had completed high school and was looking forward, like every young man, to start university in the sciences. Think of the over 4,000 Ambazonians who are either locked up in jails across La République territory, kidnapped, or simply disappeared. Those who have been killed. I'm thinking of 42-year-old Zengjo Germain, a single mother of an 8-year-old son and an office assistant in Victoria. She was arbitrarily, like all the others, arrested from her residence on September 22nd. She was taken to Yaoundé and detained at Sète. Later, she was charged with terrorism, sponsoring terrorism, and secession. Like many others who have been arrested, she was transferred to the Judicial Police in Yaoundé, and currently she's languishing at the Kondengue Central Prison without any hearing or trial. Significantly, I'm thinking of activists, journalists, and teachers like our very own Mancho BBC, Penn Terence, Estella Martin, C. Conrad, and the rest of them. Many of them